So here's me explaining all my functions. Let's just get started. None of this. This has to do with functions. It's just variables and stuff. So we can ignore that. And here's my first function. It's def start. This is for my start screen. And first we start this off by making a global game state. This is for later, for the start screen, end screen, and like the game. So this will be important later. We're just making it global right now at the beginning. Here's a while loop. And making it that's always running while true. We're going to screen.fill, and we're going to do title equals. We're just making some variables for some fonts. So it's title equals font 3.render. I just like that font. And then to Dean's, font 3 is just what font I did up there. Welcome to Dean Space Invaders, and I'll just put that out. And then I don't know. It's just there. It's like that. It's just weird. It's my fault. I'll move it. Sorry. You understand. And then we're here over here. We're just making the variables for each thing, and then down here for each word I want it, like sentence. I just put it like so it'll clip off the screen. Otherwise, I just put them all in down here. This is the game. It's not a game loop. This is for this just. Okay, sorry. This is a for loop. So it's for e pygame.event.get, and if e.type equal pygame.quit, meaning if you hit the x square, pygame.quit, and then sys, which I imported up there, which makes this section down here a lot nicer because it won't display a bunch of error code. And then this is e.type equals pygame.keydown is basically looking for if you do pygame.keydown, and then here if e.key equals pygame.key backspace, it's looking for if you hit the backspace, and if it does, it makes game state equal to. Now this doesn't matter till later, and then we're returning that value, so it affects everything. Okay, and then this is just updating it, so it constantly updates. This is my second function, reset game. This is basically for if you lose, you can click backspace to reset the entire game, and we're essentially just resetting all the variables. Everything gets reset. The score, this just gets set. This is for animation. The L gets reset. And all these all the lists get reset, so they get back to the top, and all the images. And yeah. Now this is the game over screen. This essentially is when you hit, when the aliens hit the bottom, it's game over. So first we do a global game state. This doesn't need to be here, I don't think, but it just helps. And then we do a screen.fill, which, right as it says right here, clears the screen, because if you don't put this, it'll still display it, but this, you're making a whole new screen, meaning that the game's no longer there. And this is just splitting again, splitting, already explained that, and then pygame.split update, so it keeps putting this. And this, we're just delaying it for 2 seconds, so it's nicer. And then here, if you hit the quit, and here it's looking for the backspace, and if you hit the backspace, because it's game over, it's looking for the backspace, and you hit it, it'll put the reset game variable, so all those get reset, and then the game state will equal 2. Now, of course, you see all this game state stuff. It doesn't actually matter till later, but these are just the functions. Okay, this is the main function. This just I have the two game-like functions. So I just put them in here because it's easier to use. That's all really the main function is. So just these two functions called in. This is the images functions. I have all these variables returned into here. I forget the word. Just put in here so that I can use them all in here. The images function. I prefer this than global because global's annoying. So yeah, and here we're actually making the aliens. So it's 4i in range 5, and then 4j in range 11, basically meaning 55. We'll do all this. Space Invader. That all the different ones. We're appending it, so we're basically loading it in, but we're appending it so it's in like a list, nice looking list. So here's my file, and we're doing it again. We're doing different lists because I have different aliens, like different rows of aliens. So each list is something different. I also have a different num. I do all this just to make animation easier. So yeah, go down here. We have Jim right here too. And then we have the xlist.append. This basically just makes it look nice. The j.32 and i.32. And then down here, we're just making it so it increases by 1 each time for each variable because you have each of the aliens. So it's this. And then here we're just calling it. Because if you call this, it actually doesn't do anything. You're just putting this all in. Because you're not splitting anything yet. And now here's the main game loop thing. We're all calling all these variables in. As earlier, making game state a global again. I make I a global just so I can do it's all the way down here because I is a variable and it's easier than just calling it in. So here's the first for loop, same thing, pygame.quit, and then this does not need to be here. I don't know why that's there. And this is now looking for if you hit key down. Now this is for moving the ship. So if e.key pi equals pygame.left by right, it'll be minus 100, meaning it moves. I made it fast. I'm actually gonna turn this down a bit. So you hit it left, it minuses me, it goes to the left, it goes to the right. This is a variable all the way up there. And this is for the laser, so if it sees that you hit the space bar and the by is greater than 0, that just keeps that there's only one bullet on screen, so we don't have multiple bullets, and it will bx equals xx plus 25 and sy minus 10. This basically means it'll just keep going up. And also, this was just a little sound it'll play when you hit it. Laser.play. It's 0, so it only plays once. And this is just if it's up, it doesn't move at all. Yeah, so there you go. And this is just making sure the laser moves up, the SX. And the SX. I think this is just making sure it doesn't clip. The ship doesn't clip through anything. And this is just the bullet speed, I think. Here's change dir equals false. This is for the aliens moving from left to right, and we find the side screen dot fill. I don't know why I waited so long. I don't know why I did that, but basically we're just filling in the screen, white background. I don't know. And this is for the aliens moving. So it's xless plus equals ship speed. I don't know. It's just I should change the variables, but this basically means that they'll move with the ship speed. But this makes it that if they hit one of the edges, the left side or the right side, that the change dir will equal true, and that this is a bit of unused code. The change dir will equal true, and that basically, if it equals true, the ship speed will times equal -1, which will reverse it, because 1 times -1 is -1, and then -1 times -1 is 1. So you'll essentially reverse the ship speed, so it'll go backwards, and then it'll change dir to false, so it just goes back to normal. And then this is for what? I don't think this needs to be here. I don't know why it's there, but yeah, I don't think this needs to be here. Yeah, we'll just keep that. And this is all the collisions. Sorry, I need a little. I'll bring this all back. This is all the collision code. So let me explain it. Basically, so it's for I in range 55. So it means if it's in range 55, and if pygame.rect x list, y list, a list, which is the aliens, get width, a list, get height, collide rec, bullet, get height. Basically meaning if the bullet collides with it, it'll do all this stuff, which is y list. So it gets minus 1 million, by minus 1 million. It just gets rid of the alien. It plays a little sound. This is some explosion code that I couldn't get working. Unfortunately, it just doesn't do anything. And then you do it, and here, L plus L is my scoring. So basically, if it's in range of 11, which is the back aliens, L plus equal 40, the most points. If it's 33, which is like the middle aliens, then you only get 20. And if it's 55, which is the front aliens, you only get 5. So that's each of the different score values for each of the aliens. Just fixing that. And then down here, we're just making score text equals string L. We're just turning L into a string, and then we're rendering in that string, so it'll basically show your score every time you shoot, and then we're just splitting in that score. Here we're splitting in the bullet, and we're just splitting in the ship with the bullet, which I made all the way up there, and the BX blue arch also made up there, same with the ship. And this is just setting the frame rate to clock.60 before we do all the animation, so it looks a lot nicer. And this is, I'm just going to explain this once since I repeated the animation code 3 times for each different alien. So f_num plus equal 2, so every time this happens, it'll plus equal 2. And if f_num equals 60, pi game a for I range in 55 means in 55. A list will equal the first of this guy, this alien. We'll load him in, and we'll scale him, basically put him in. That's what A list will equal. But if f_num equals 120, f_num will equal 0, and this guy, and then A list will actually become this guy, and we'll scale this guy. And this basically means that it'll keep counting up to 60, and then it'll keep, and once it's 60, it'll be this guy, and when it equals 120, it'll be this guy, but it'll equal 0, and so until we hit 60, it'll be this guy, and once it's 60, it's this guy, and it'll keep doing it forever. This is 2 because I think it's just a lot smoother, in my opinion, the animation, but yeah, and it's the same thing for each one, just different f_nums, so they're each different, and they're not all the same, like alien, for each alien M list, different lists for each different alien type. And down here, this is just, I'm blitting in each one of the different aliens. So screen.blit B list, which is the first alien, an M list, and an A list. I'm just making that so if I is greater than 11, no, I is less than 11, then you'll blit in these guys. If it's less than 33, you'll blit in these guys, and if it's less than 55, you'll blit in these guys. This is how that works. This is for the game over screen, so it's basically for I in range 55, and if the Y list for these guys is greater than the screen height, or equal to the screen height, then the game state will equal 3, and then we're returning that value, and, well, I'll show you the game state equals, and then we're just displaying it so it keeps update. Now here's where game state comes in. Game state equals 1, that's just setting it, and then while true, if game state equals 1, which is the starting value, we'll put in the start screen function, we'll call that, and then, hit backspace. That turns into game state 2. Then we're calling the main function, which has those 2 other functions in it. And then, as we learned right here, if the Y list is greater or equal than the screen height, then the game state equals 3, and this equals game over, and then game over, if we go all the way over to the top, if you click backspace, it sets the game state to 2, and then it calls the main again. And this is basically just the starting screen, end screen. So yeah, that is all my code, all my functions. I didn't explain this because you didn't want me to explain it. It's just a bunch of variables. And yeah, goodbye.